Entry 5. I've found an interesting stand user, a gambler by the name of Daniel J. Darby. He lives as a gambler. After talking to him a little, I could tell he was a stand user. It was strange. I seemed to simply know, somehow, by talking to someone whether they are a stand user, or, at least, whether the aptitude is there. It's a sensation that I can only describe as instinctual, but it's so clear that I don't doubt it. In other words, I can tell whether someone ought to be pierced by the bow and arrow. The job of forming my organization by gathering stand users as my comrades I've left to Enya, but collecting comrades for the purpose of attaining heaven, I, Dio, must accomplish myself with myself as a detector. If I sense someone of interest, I must act. Daniel J. Darby. I think I will go meet with him once again. It is possible that he is my yet unfound friend. Perhaps that's hoping for too much. A gambler is not likely to possess a pure spirit, but he may become a guidepost on my path to heaven. Entry 6. I decided to kill my father when he sold my mother's dress for liquor money. Until that point, even I might have had some hopes for my father, some expectations. Someday this man will undoubtedly change. Undoubtedly, he'll understand. I had no reason to think such things, but I perhaps sought something fatherly, at least something humane, from him. Now, a century later, it's difficult to recall my feelings then, but I know I had multiple chances to kill him. We lived in the same house. He would lie around all day, sleeping slovenly. With but a knife, I could have killed him even at the age of 5. I didn't, because I still thought of that foolish man as my father. Even if I did not love him dearly, that's what I thought, but I was wrong. That man was nothing but scum. He was human garbage, not worthy of being called my, Dio's, parent. Even now, after 100 years, it is in fact still unpleasant to call him my father. I only see a man like that as prey, rather than as a father. I would far prefer to give that title to George Joestar. He tried to sell mother's dress. No, he actually did sell it. I objected repeatedly, but just when I took my eyes off of him for a minute, that good-for-nothing man brought it himself to the pawn shop. It was an old dress and didn't earn much money. To sell memories of my mother for 1 bottle of booze. Except for him, there probably was no memory at all. It was just a dress that happened to sit in the back of our wardrobe, something he casually forgot about and sold one day. That's all. It must have been like finding a coin that had fallen behind a bookcase. So I realized, from the bottom of my heart, this man really was useless, no good at all. That's why I decided to kill my father. To be honest, I would not say my intent was so strong. Rather, it reminds me of what it would take to crush a bug on a wall. And though that metaphor of killing pests lessens my dignity, I might deserve as much. If I reflect, and I ask myself why I didn't kill that man, and how I could have left him alive, I can't find an answer. Working day and night to earn enough to gift him liquor and medicine enraged me, embarrassed me. I had no dignity to begin with. What a mistake I've made, I thought. My mother was a giver, and my father was a taker. I understood that, and yet I didn't. I was the one he took from. Under my father, while I lived with him, I felt I was doing well, enduring as I had, cleverly and obstinately surviving, but I was wrong. He only exploited me. One day, at last, I realized I had been taken advantage of and treated like a slave. It was late, but I finally realized it. And thankfully not too late. I found I still had time. He still had time. So I decided to do it. To kill my father. However, at that time, I was no longer a 5-year-old boy. I couldn't do something impulsive, like gouge out my father's stomach in his sleep with a knife. Even though it was a rotten town without laws nor commandments, patricide remained an unforgivable crime. I did not intend to discard my life for his sake. I had already thrown away a decade for him. I refused to give any more. I was still a child, but I was already self-sufficient, and being so, to be punished for this murder would only make bitter my new independence. I could not relinquish my life. For that reason, I had to carefully investigate ways to commit murder. To do it, it had to be a perfect crime. I would not kill him in the throes of passion nor despair. I would kill him with resolve. Thus, I began to think of a way to kill my father. Entry 7. Just as I predicted, though to say so might be too pessimistic, Darby was not the yet unfound friend I seek. He was not the friend I could trust from the bottom of my heart. His avarice is too profound. My perspective holds a very favorable impression of that greed. It's an indispensable talent for a gambler, but his is not a personality that can go to heaven. I wonder if such a personality really exists. If such a pure human exists in this world. Wait. It's possible that I have already met such a person, and I simply didn't realize it. I won't say that no one springs to mind from phrasing the issue in that manner, though I refuse to name anyone with confidence. I will embrace that approach. If this method too yields no results, then I will make changes. Or I expect I will start to feel depressed. Leaving that aside, contacting Darby was not a completely wasted endeavor. As I expected, I obtained good results. Of course, firstly, I found a new subordinate in him. Secondly, his stand ability gave me a hint. Its name is Osiris. It alludes not to a tarot card like my The World or Enya's Justice. Rather, like Andul's Geb, his stand alludes to one of the 9 glorious Egyptian gods. It is utterly powerless. In hand-to-hand combat, I would not even need to use The World. I could kill Darby with just my normal, that is, my vampire, strength. How he uses his stand is a different question. Even I, Dio, may not be able to overpower him. Darby's Osiris possesses neither power nor speed, but instead uses a special ability. His stand manipulates souls. It extracts the souls of those whom he defeats in various gambling games. An incredible ability, it goes without saying. After extracting the soul from their bodies, the stand traps them in the shape of a casino chip, I suppose, because he is a gambler. An unnecessary but humorous act. I never imagined there would be a stand that allowed one to touch a soul. And what's more, I hear he has a little brother who also possesses a soul-manipulating stand. Neither of the Darby stands were born of the bow and arrow. They were born as stand users. Perhaps bloodlines have some influence on stands. What is most important is that the Darbys can touch these things called souls. With their stands, I can assemble 36 souls. I need so many souls, each of which must have committed heinous sins, to go to heaven. This may seem absurd on numerous levels. The concrete number of 36 is something I'll detail later. As for the necessity of heinous sins, let me explain. The souls of sinners hold great power. I learnt this 100 years ago. The more fiendish criminals were the stronger zombies. I hypothesize that strength derives from the wish to go to heaven. The greater the desire for happiness, in my opinion, the more potent a soul becomes. The other day, one of my newer subordinates, a boy named Noriaki Kakyoin, stated a theory that in any conflict, whoever loses is the one branded evil. But I feel adversely. The desire for and the ability to attain victory arises only in those who are evil, who have wicked souls. Evil means wanting to go to heaven and be happy. Evil is the desire to be a true victor. Thus it is only in evil souls that I can find the path to heaven, a path the Darbys have helped illuminate. And with that, I've moved forward somewhat. Yes, I'm facing heaven and moving forward. What is crucial now is to make certain that no one finds out about this. Enya and her followers, of course, but the Darby brothers as well.